guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. We have a very special guest sitting next to me. I told him that I'm going to make this Singapore experience video kind of a content. So he was like, he was so interested, and he never joins. Whenever I invite him for invite him for making a video, he wouldn't come. But for this one, he was so interested, and he was all ready, prepared, and he's sitting next to me. So before we could jump into the actual content of the video, like, would you like to say hi?
Hello, hi.
Okay, so you know what? Whenever we plan for an international trip and when we fix the location, we always, the first and foremost that we do is book flight and hotels, right? So this amazing person who did everything for me, for us, he's gonna share his point of view and give you some tips and tricks that might be very useful for you if at all you plan for visiting Singapore. Here you go.
Yeah. So as she mentioned, so whenever you are planning for an international trip, right? So flight is the first thing that we kind of book, and whenever you are booking a flight, the main thing that you will take into consideration is the duration of the flight, the cost, and the arrival and departure time, right? Singapore with regards to India, right, is more convenient compared to other European and American countries. The reason is Singapore is just like max to max 4 to 5 years travel from India. So whenever you are booking a flight ticket from India, make sure that you reach Singapore early morning, from 9 to 7 to 9 a.m. so that it is easier for you to kind of go straight to your hotel, and you can also try to do an early check-in for 2 hours prior to the check-in time. And Singapore airport is a really good airport. It is one of the best airports in the world. And whenever you are returning back from Singapore, make sure that your flight time is in the late hours, that is after 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. or even 9 p.m. The reason is you can check out of your hotel at around, let's say, 2 p.m. You can come straight to the airport, you can do an early check-in of your bags, and there's something called as a Jewel, which is within the Changi airport. It's a mall which has an indoor waterfalls. There are parks and experience studios. You can easily spend 3 to 4 hours just on the Jewel. So you can just check in your bags, go straight to the Jewel, have some fun time there, watch the light shows, and then you can board your flight after that. So yeah, that is the recommendation which I would give for booking a flight. And for us, we booked the flight by using Make My Trip. We fairly booked our flights way earlier, that is 4 to 5 months before our trip, because we had everything planned out. So, and it was very cheap, to be honest. We booked an Vistara flight, and it cost us nearly 18,000 per person. Both it's for a round trip. So even if you plan to book it way in advance, you will get it in under 40K for a couple. Yeah. Hey,
yes. So the moment we got to know that it's just 40K, we were expecting our budget was something way higher for flight, but when it was 40K and we booked 4 to 5 months before our planned date, it was very helpful. And after booking also, we kept tracking the flight charges. It was raising. So trust me, if you're planning anywhere, plan way before. And yes, so we spoke about booking flights and timings and everything, and what you have to do in the airport. Okay, now let's talk about hotels. That is most important, right? Accommodation. So yeah.
Okay, so from the accommodation standpoint, Singapore is one of the most expensive countries to visit. Let me put that first. And the hotel prices are way too expensive. And I would recommend to kind of block your rooms at least 3 to 4 months before you travel, because during even flight charges, even the hotel rooms tend to get way too higher when you are booking it very late. And to give you an example, we stayed in a hotel called Hotel V Bencoolen, which is in the heart of the city, and it is on a street called Bencoolen Street. And when we booked the hotel for 8 days, for 5 months before our travel, it cost us close to 1,000 Singapore dollars, which is roughly 60,000 Indian rupees. And as the time goes on, right, the price kept on increasing, and we at one point I was able to see the same hotel for the same room for the same duration. It costed nearly like $2,200. So it is almost like a 100% hike. So I would recommend you to kind of regularly check the hotels on different platforms like Agoda, Make My Trip, Easy Trip, Go Ibibo, Booking.com, and if you find a suitable slot, I would recommend to go and block it. So Agoda has this beautiful feature where you can block the room by giving your credit card number, and only 3 days before you travel the amount gets debited. So that is a facility which we used, and it was really helpful for us. And if you're looking to for a budget friendly place, so you can explore like different capsules and dormitories which are available in Singapore. So where you will not get an entire isolated room for yourself, but you will be given a capsule or a dorm which will be on like a sharing basis, and that will also like reduce your budget on the accommodation quite a bit. So yeah, and from the area standpoint, Little India, Chinatown, Bencoolen, these are all like budget friendly areas, and it also has like good connectivity from MRT to buses, to like all the attractions nearby it. So these are some areas which I would recommend. Yeah.
And you put it up really well. Okay, now moving on. Let's talk about passport and visa and SD card. The toughest part, at least for me.
Yeah. So to be honest, the visa process for Singapore is like very straightforward, is very easier compared to other countries like USA and some Schengen visa as well. And the processing time for visa is like very fast compared to other countries. So there are only like two ways by which you can get a Singapore passport, Singapore visa. The first one is by through a local who is residing in Singapore. So if you have any friends or if you have any relatives there who is in Singapore, so they can file a visa on your name, and you will be getting it visa in like 24 to 48 hours. That is very straightforward. So you just have to give them the hotel booking confirmation, flight tickets, as well as a copy of your passport. That's it. Only 3 items is required if you are going via local. Okay. And the charges is also very less charges is also like very nominal. You have to pay like 30 Singapore dollars for a person. And if you don't have anyone who is residing in Singapore, the other way is to go via an authorized agents, and that is the only way you can do it. You cannot you cannot like file a visa by yourself. You have to go via agents. And from what I know, agents charge near like 3,000 to 4,000 rupees for a person, which is like 60 to 65 Singapore dollars. So that is a bit on the higher side. And if you're going via agent, you have to give them like copies of your bank statements or 6 months bank statements, flight tickets, booking accommodation, and if you know any person who is residing in Singapore, you might also need to give them the information of them. And the agents taking your passport, they will send it to the embassy which is in Chennai, and then you will get the visa and the passport within like 5 to 7 working days. So going via agent is like a bit of a lengthy process, and it is also a bit costlier compared to getting the visa directly from a resident who is residing in Singapore. So see whichever is convenient for you, and you can choose any of the either two.
Yeah. So especially when we have to go to this country, Singapore, they would require you to carry SD card. I was thinking he'll talk about what SD card is and how to apply and everything. So I thought they'll probably ask us to produce it during the immigration, but that was not the case, at least for us. But you know, it is useful when at times when you are going for shopping and when your billing exceeds more than $100. When you have to get the GST refund, there you have to produce the SD card. So I have spoken about this SD card also in another video that I'll be putting it up somewhere over here or the description box below. But how do we apply for SD card and things to do?
Okay. So SD card is kind of a very important document whenever you are going to Singapore. So the main use of this SD card is kind of a declaration from your side saying that I have been vaccinated for COVID and I do not have any yellow fever or any such diseases transmissible.
Transmissible.
Yeah. Yeah, so transmissible diseases. So you kind of have to, there is a specific website for it. So, and the SG card, you can only get an SG card like 3 days before your departure date. So it doesn't open till then. So as soon as you log in, like you will see an option of, are you like a solo traveler or a group traveler, or are you an official traveler? There will be 3 options. So you have to like choose the option of solo or group depending upon how you are traveling. You need to furnish your passport details, you need to furnish your visa number, and then you also need to give the address where you are staying and all the other things. And there will also be kind of questionnaire which says like, have you been vaccinated with COVID? Do you have any symptoms for yellow fever and all such like standard questions? Just answer them properly, and once you are done with it, you will be able to take a printout of the SD card. I would recommend to have a printout of an SD card and also a soft copy on the phone, because whenever you are going through an immigration, usually the immigration officer asks for your passport, your visa and your SD card. So if you haven't taken the SD card with you, nothing to worry. There is a kiosk just before the immigration whenever you are entering Singapore. So where you can print out, take the SD card or log in the SD card or get the SD card through an app which they have. So yeah, and as she mentioned, whenever you are doing shopping in Singapore, and if the total amount of the shopping exceeds 100 Singapore dollars, then you can claim the GST's refund. So there they will ask you to produce the SD card, and in the SD card, when what is the date that you are getting out of the country, using that date you might have to get a receipt, and using that receipt you will be able to get the refund of the tax which you have paid for the shopping. And we did the shopping for almost like $200, and for which we got like a refund of close to like $20, like 1/10 of the money we paid, we got it as a refund. And yeah, you can also make use of that.
Wonderful. So one question that I want to ask in behalf of people who are watching, when do we get the refund?
So you can claim the refund only on the day of your departure from your country. So before you proceed to the immigration, there is a separate GST counter, so where you might have to like scan your passport. So before going there, so whenever you are trying to claim a refund on the store, right, they will ask for your passport and SD card. So they will make an entry of the SD card and the passport, and the amount will be automatically loaded against your passport number. So in the GST refund counter, you just have to scan your passport, and it kind of tells you whether do you want it to be automatically transferred to your international credit card, or you can also get it in as a cash on the day itself. So we opted for cash. The reason is international credit card, they said like it will take like 5 to 7 working days for the amount to get credited. So we took the cash option, and we just got the cash then and there. So yeah, and it's a very straightforward process. So there will be a kiosk. Go and scan your passport, select the shopping which you have done, and click on print. You will get a receipt. Take the receipt, go to the counter, and they will give you a cash. That's it.
Yeah. So using that cash, we did some more shopping in the airport. So that is all. Like we thought, okay, these are the important things that has to be covered and shared it with you guys. So if you have any queries or doubts regarding anything apart from whatever we have covered, please do put that in the comment section below. We'll be really glad to read and reply you immediately. So that's it, guys. If you feel this video was useful, please do give a like and
Subscribe
to my channel and
leave your comments.
Okay, and
press the bell notification icon to get the videos.
Yes, yeah. Okay, thank you so much, guys. I'll meet in my next video. Until then, okay, this is part 1. Okay, I have to mention this is part 1. So we're coming with part 2 very soon. So stay tuned. I'll meet in my next video. See you. Bye bye.